On the western slopes of Jerusalem nestles the quaint and artistic village En Kerem, believed to be the home of the parents of John the Baptist. Modern cyclists ride their bikes, enjoying the trek through the adjacent mountain to emerge at ancient water sources prevalent throughout the hills of Jerusalem. Churches here memorialize the events of John's life, starting with the momentous journey of Mary when she visited her cousin Elizabeth. Mary was pregnant with the Messiah, and Elizabeth, who was barren, finally expected a child who would be the Messiah's forerunner, he who would cry out from the wilderness, "Make way for the coming of the Lord." Mary praised God for his mercy, justice, and faithfulness in her famous prayer. En Kerem was an ancient pilgrimage site. The New Testament relates that Zechariah and Elizabeth lived in a town of the hill country of Judea, and since the Byzantine era, this area is believed to be their home. Descending back down into the town, an ancient spring bears her name. For centuries, the spring served as the village's main water source and still merrily bubbles even now. Near the town center, I approach yet another prominent church, a venerated site since early Christianity. Beneath the present structure are ancient remains of Byzantine mosaics and Crusader foundations. A grotto is traditionally honored as John's birthplace. Modern pilgrims see plaques of Zechariah's prophecy of John's birth in their own language. A few kilometers away at the bottom of Nahal Tzuba, Dr. Shimon Gibson suggested that a ritual cave from John's time was used for purification. Gibson controversially interpreted this carved stone relief as a depiction of John himself. The cave behind this cistern is in the shape of a cross, with pottery dating to the Second Temple period. Up the hill at Sataf is a favorite rest stop for many of us to enjoy a delicious kosher hot dog and a wonderful view of the Jerusalem mountains. Just opposite from Sataf, this secluded monastery has long been honored by Byzantine and Crusader tradition, although not archaeologically proven. It's a wonderfully tranquil, remote spot celebrating John's ascetic life of prayer in these rugged hills near his birthplace. From these rugged hills, John prepared himself to embark on his illustrious ministry, preparing the way for Messiah. On his way to the Jordan River and Dead Sea, John needed to navigate the Judean Wilderness to fulfill his ministry. Most certainly he would have passed this Herodian palace. The ruins, complete with a bath complex, still sits on the modern road about halfway to Jericho. Opposite the authentic location of the Inn of the Good Samaritan, I think it may have served as the backdrop for Jesus' parable. John had to traverse the dangerous and rough ancient Roman road from Jerusalem. Plagued by bandits, even today it is politically unsafe to travel and is often closed to hikers. Over centuries, water has coursed down Wadi Kilt through these aqueducts. As John emerged into the Rift Valley, Herod's winter palace elegantly silhouetted the date palm trees of Jericho. The splendor of the mighty Jordan as it entered the Dead Sea spread before him. As an international border and military zone with the Kingdom of Jordan, the baptism site on the Israeli side has not always been accessible. Since 2012, it reopened, and many local and international Christians love coming here to immerse themselves in the waters of the Jordan for baptism. John baptized at Bethany beyond the Jordan, here at the spring on the other side. Byzantine ruins and mosaics mark the site where he preached for the repentance of sin. Like any other person, John would have been well acquainted with the Essene community at Qumran. These caves hid the Dead Sea Scrolls for millennia. It's even quite likely that he used their facilities to be refreshed and possibly stationed himself here after his parents died. Just south of Qumran are the fresh waters of Einot Tsukim, one of the lowest freshwater springs on earth, percolating into the rift to the Dead Sea. As a desert wanderer, I think that John must have recharged and spiritually replenished here. Most people don't realize that this Dead Sea, Hasmonean dry dock, used to serve as Herod's ships across the Dead Sea. Josephus records that John was conveyed to the other side to Machaerus, beyond Herod's other fortress at Masada. It's highly likely John was transported across the Dead Sea to Kali-Roi, the port of Machaerus. Kali-Roi actually shows up on the ancient Madaba map at St. George's Church in the Kingdom of Jordan. Herod's obsession with safety and health problems placed Machaerus near the thermal springs of Ma'in. It was at Machaerus that John was beheaded by Herod Antipas after condemning his marriage to Herodias. John's message prepared the people for Messiah. Even today, Christians continue the same practice of baptism by immersion at the same locale, declaring their spiritual rebirth and identification with Him.